Hey everyone, this video is going to be a massive curveball. This is an interview I did with a friend I used to race with on GT Planet, and arguably one of the quickest guys on the game. At the time he'd just become the fastest racer on the GT Planet registry, and won the first Gran Turismo 6 time trial by a crazy margin. On top of that, he's placed first in at least one of the GT Academy qualifiers, and I thought it might be nice to find out a bit more about him. So we recorded this interview. Sadly, this was shortly before I stopped making videos, so it never came out, but I think it's still worth showing you guys, and perhaps an homage to one of the fastest drivers I've ever had the pleasure of racing with. I had a bunch of his replays to show as footage, but since it's all GT6 stuff and I don't have my PS3 with me, I've just had to record some GT Sport stuff. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, so you're now number one on the GTP registry. Like, how does that feel?
To be honest with you, I knew I'd be sort of top 10, but I had to get my time in before I went away skiing. So
yeah, did you spend a lot of time on it?
I probably spent in total about 7-8 hours.
Okay.
But I did monotonously when I was off work, just go lap after lap after lap. And until I thought, that'll do. That'll get me D1 gold, I'm hoping. But
yep.
I didn't realise I was going to get as far as 0.6, I think it was. But yeah, and I was happy. I was happy to get the number one spot, put it that way.
Yeah.
I know Bandit was going for it.
I'm sure he was.
And I had a little wry smile on my face.
Yeah. Must be quite weird to think on an official level you're the number one on GT Planet at the moment.
Yep. Well, essentially it's years and years ago when I first started Gran Turismo, when I first signed up to GT Planet itself. But I was under a different username back then, but my save game corrupt, so I had to start a new sort of new file. But I was in D1 Gold back then as well, so. But there you go.
Well, let's cover your username. You're Twissy, GTP Twissy, obviously.
Yep.
Am I right in? I think I heard you saying that originated from Twisted Metal. Is that right?
Yeah. It's just because I love that game.
Yeah.
I love it on PS1. Just drive around, shooting people.
The perfect setup.
I love shoot 'em up, so I'm a big Call of Duty player as well. So
nice.
There you go.
Awesome.
That's where it originated from, anyway.
Very nice. Okay. So in the past, you've done pretty well in GT Academy. Sort of, what was your highlight? What are the sort of better achievements you've had in that?
Well, I think when GT Academy started, I think it was back in 2008. When it was, I think it was on GT HD Concept. I think the game was called then.
Yeah.
And I was on a pad back then, and that was the only year I was actually eligible to take part, because you didn't have to have a racing license.
Okay.
And I think I finished 122nd or something in the country. And ever since then, I thought, right, I want to do this. I want to get into the top 20 or whatever it is. So I bought a wheel. I think Prologue came out, and ever since then, they've always required you to, I think it was have a National B, but no more than 2 races. But I've had a National A kart license, a National A race license since 2007 for race license, and I started go-karting when I was 9, so I'm now 26.
There you go. So what's your highest placement in all of the academies?
Well, I finished first in 2012.
2012, first in overall or in UK?
Oh, UK.
Okay. Do you remember what the overall score was? Or?
I think I was about 13th or something like that. 12th or 13th.
Who won it that year? Was it T-Tech?
Yeah, Tytech.
Yeah, he's
I think he always wins it. So
he probably does. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So that's pretty good. You just kind of covered it, but like you said, you're not able to participate, just to kind of clear that up. So if you have a racing license, they don't allow you to go on to the finals. Is that right?
That is correct. That's the ball ache for me anyway, because I did have a sort of a thought. I'm going to email the guy that runs it and just say, give me a shot, because I would actually, I reckon I'd be.
You'd have a good chance.
Damn good in a car. As I've raced around Europe, and I've been pretty competitive. So, just to give the opportunity in a Nissan of some description, I think I'd be pretty handy.
Yeah.
But that's the downside for me, because I already hold license.
Yeah. Okay. So what sort of racing have you done in the reels?
Oh well, I started go-karting at 9. I raced go-karts till I was 17, 18. Proper national level, all around the country. And then in sort of 2007, we went to the Autosport show every year in Birmingham.
Yep.
And we thought, right, okay, we need to take the next step. Took it. We started racing minis. In 2007, yeah, we just raced around the country in the new minis. We even raced at Spa as well, where I managed to stand on the podium twice there as well.
Oh, awesome.
So, but it's a long track. That, I mean, we walked around it in the evening, and it took, I think, 4 hours.
Holy crap!
But it's, I stopped. Well, I had to stop racing in 2010 because just financially, I had a massive crash at Silverstone, where I just got tagged in the little Fiat Abarth 500s.
Okay.
And I got tagged by some geezer and it just sent me flying, or sent me rolling down the track. So yeah, that was a write-off, and that was, I think,
that's unfortunate.
that was a huge sum of money just down the drain. So
Yeah.
I've destroyed.
That's tough.
And it's never been like that ever since. So I haven't
Yeah.
actually managed to get a huge sum of money back at all.
That's unfortunate. Do you reckon, like, skills that you've learned from the real track translate into Gran Turismo, or vice versa, Gran Turismo onto the real track?
I think if I hadn't been, racing karts since I was young, I don't think I'd been as good as I was on Gran Turismo. Karting is just the sort of the ground level, you learn everything go-karting. And to be honest with you, I run with a play seat, GT27 as well. So it's just literally like you're in a go-kart.
Yeah.
And it's so similar, but you just drive around virtual cars. But it's, as I say, in a nutshell, I don't think I would have been as good as I actually am on the game if I hadn't started racing karts.
Yeah. So you did a bit of racing after you kind of got that set up on Gran Turismo, is that right?
Yep.
So would you say that some of the skills from Gran Turismo went the other way then?
Yeah, because on Gran Turismo it made me a lot smoother.
Right.
So that basically translated into my real driving, whether it's in a real car on the road or it's on the track.
Yeah.
And I did have people say to me, sort of like driver coaches, I spoke with Rob Barth, the guy that does the GT Academy.
Yeah.
I think I had a session with him once at Donington, and I told him I raced Gran Turismo, and he couldn't believe it. And, so this was 2009 now, back then. So
yeah.
But I think I could safely say that it has kind of translated both ways as well.
Nice. Okay. What was the first Gran Turismo game that you played, and then again kind of started to take seriously?
Well, seriously was Prologue. I kind of dabbled with Gran Turismo 4, but that was, I think it was on PS2.
Yeah, that was on the 2. Yeah.
I think I just played that randomly. I didn't really get into it, and then it was as soon as I got PS3, and I think that sort of demo came up, the HD concept thing came out, and I really got into it from sort of that GT Academy, the first one.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, right, let's give this a go. And then I find out I'm not actually eligible for it. So
yeah. Okay.
I just carried on with it.
Yep. Yeah, that's cool. All right, let's talk about time trialing then. So week 1 of the WRS for GT6 finished recently. Over 140 entrances, or actually submitted laps. Even more people presumably who actually was practicing for that. And despite that, you finished first by over 2/10, which is quite a big gap in WRS time trials, especially on like a 1 minute lap. Is there like a 1 minute 10 lap, right? You had a 1 minute 11 or something like that.
Yep.
Like, how do you feel about that? That's kind of crazy.
Well, to be honest with you, I really wanted to win it. So I won the last week of GT5 as well.
Oh, nice.
And I wanted to win the first week of this one. Because I did look at the results from the GT5 first week, and there was, I think, 80 entrants for that week. So I really wanted to win the first week. Considering there's 140 odd people submitted, that was very satisfying to get the win. But I was pretty confident with my last run.
Yeah, it was a shame you were the only D1 gold. A couple of the other D1 golds not participating. Hopefully we'll see that in the future. But despite that, there's some quick guys in silver that can easily
Yeah,
win races and time trials. So I think like I was quite surprised to see such a big gap in that.
there's a lot of people that are actually participating that are actually, in terms of the racing and time trials, are actually very, very consistent. They're actually just as quick, but it just takes that little bit of, pushing that a little bit extra, which, you've got to take gambles in these sort of time trials, where I just will, if I'm on a lap and I know I'm ahead, I will just go for the gamble in the last sort of sector, where a lot of people will bottle it.
Yeah.
And I'm normally confident that my last sector will always hold up.
Yeah.
So that's generally my philosophy on the time
Yeah,
trials.
that's cool. Yeah, I was going to actually go. So what's your sort of approach to the lap? Do you like just run laps and laps one after the other, or do you kind of do the kind of restart until you piece each segment together and get that one perfect lap?
The thing is with the time trials, as I say, a lot of it's psychological with me. Sometimes the tyres are better on lap 2, but a lot of people you find will just kind of screw the first sector up and then restart. Which, don't get me wrong, I do that as well. But I will just, as I say, try to get the lines for every sector correct first, and then I'll try and piece it all together. But yeah, even I get nervous in the last sector if I see them a 10th up, and I just throw it away, because this week I threw a lot of laps away whilst I was up. But I finally pieced together on the Sunday, or on the Saturday or the Sunday.
All right. Do you reckon there's more time out there for you? Any more 10ths?
There was probably, to be honest, my first and second sectors were the best I'd saw.
Right.
And my last sector was probably pretty much on the money as well. I think it was Mike went about half a tenth quicker, but to be honest with you, I was already 2 tenths up anyway. So.
Okay, so pretty close to the limit on that one.
I was pretty much on the ragged edge, put it that way.
That's pretty cool. Okay, when do you sort of decide it's time to stop? I mean, do you keep pushing until you feel like you're at your limit? I mean, I'm sure like week by week you might have different time constraints, but would you, in a sort of ideal world, would you keep pushing yourself to your own limit, or if you could see that you were sort of reasonably well ahead of the field, you'd just kind of give it a rest and let others try and catch up?
Yeah, the thing is with the splits posting on the WRS side of things, it basically keeps everybody going, so you can never be safe.
Yeah.
Because everybody pushes, well, essentially you just keep pushing, but I will get to a sort of limit where I think, this is going to be pretty hard to beat, because I like to think I know what everybody else is going through.
Yeah.
Because I know what I'm going through, so
exactly.
And I'm pretty much on the ragged edge, so if I'm pretty happy with my lap, I know it's going to be tough to beat. But a lot of it for me is just motivation. I've got to be willing to just put in the time.
Yeah,
that's what it is at the end of the day. If you want to get better, you've just got to be able to put the time in. But
yeah,
I can generally pick up a track fairly quickly, and then be on the limit fairly swiftly, and then it's just kind of trying to piece it all together, I guess.
Yeah, get that one perfect lap. Cool. Okay, well, let's talk about your YouTube channel. So you want to just quickly mention the channel and just what you might post or do post?
Well, generally, I only really started it probably sort of end of last year, really. Basically, all that's going to be on it is just general videos from myself. I guess it's going to be sort of WRS stuff, really. Now it's started, it will just be sort of the laps that I do every week. Maybe some races that I've been involved in as well. But just general laps of, general stuff I do in Gran Turismo. Some live commentaries as well, as some of you may have seen. Yeah. With Red Bull stuff, I'm yet to do the new stuff that's come out, the new patch. So
yeah, haven't tried it yet either.
You'll probably see some of that up on the channel as well. But yeah, I think people are starting to enjoy it. I do have a video on there already for the Red Bull thing, which has just got a ridiculous amount of views.
Was that the Nürburgring?
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that.
Couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But it depends what people want to see at the end of the day,
No, well, it's a bit of a feat taking that car around that track, and I mean, there was a couple mistakes in there, but I mean, I think like even then, I mean, you were pushing it pretty quick. I mean, you weren't just taking it easy through there, so it's an impressive lap.
I did the same thing in Gran Turismo 5, but the physics are completely different. I mean, the lap I did in Gran Turismo 5 was 14 seconds quicker.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm guessing there must be some sort of different time mod going on, but that was pretty fast as it was. But there you go. I may attempt it again and see if I can get quicker.
Okay. Have you considered doing any other sort of videos? I mean, you clearly know the game better than almost everyone else in the world. Have you ever kind of thought about doing some more like in detail stuff, a bit more of your commentary?
Maybe sort of tip stuff. Sort of my approach to things. You know, it may be completely different to. You know, if for example, I've watched my videos and I watch other people's replays, and I can see one clear difference is in terms of changing down the gears, you can hear my engine on the limiter everywhere.
That's your signature.
It's just literally it's what I do. It's just natural what it happens, but it's just things like that, and I pick up from videos and just little tips I can do. I don't know why, but it helps sort of rotate the car and things of that nature. But there will be things I can pick up and sort of give to people.
Nice.
But really, I've just got to kind of sit down and actually look at what they're doing before I can sort of give any advice.
Yeah. Well, even if you just you're talking about the WRS stuff, I think just on the odd occasion, maybe if there's a particularly technical track, it might be cool just to sort of obviously show your lap, but maybe just spread a few words on it, talk over. I mean, you see, like Tidgeny does.
Yeah, I've seen some of his stuff.
He goes crazy, like half an hour long on like one corner and stuff. But not necessarily saying that, but even just like a few words and sort of general guidelines, something like that might be.
Not gonna lie, Tidgeny, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
he's very good with the sort of technical side of things. And not gonna lie, he's quick as well. But I like watching his videos because he gives sort of the average user that doesn't play Gran Turismo every day and sort of competitively. I'm guessing it must have helped back in 2012 with that Motegi Academy.
Yeah.
He did a lot of videos for that, which I watched pretty much all of them because he did I think it was Road to GT Academy, didn't he?
I saw that. Yeah.
And I mean, the sort of feedback he got from that was really good. So it may be some sort of thing I may go into, but I've just got to decide really what I want to sort of where I want to take the channel, I guess.
Yep.
There you
All
go.
right. I got one last question. It was kind of going back. I had it sort of on my mind. Like if you could give back or sort of get rid of your racing license, would you do that for the sort of one chance at GT Academy? Because of course, once you get to the nationals, once you get to the finals, European, if you don't win, you can't get back in again. I believe.
I know.
Would you give it up for one chance at GT Academy?
I think I would, but I know how from watching sort of this stuff on YouTube of the national finals, I know how competitive it can be. But I think I would just, if I had the chance, I would literally just be on it. Fitness, just
everything,
practice every day, just so I can get to the race camp, and then I could actually show what I can do in the real car.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's pretty much that's all I got for you.
Nice one, mate.
But yeah, thanks for joining us.
No worries.
So there we go. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed that little insight into one of the all-time greats on Gran Turismo. And thanks again to Twissy for joining me. I know it was at least a couple of years ago now that we recorded that, but hopefully you don't mind posting it up. And if you're watching it, then thanks again, and we'll see you guys in the next video.